And welcome to Let's Get Some Answers with me, your host, Dan Wettstein, where each week I bring in a new guest. We ask them a bunch of questions, get some answers about the burning questions going on in sports today. And this week, we have my guy, Mr. First Down, a.k.a. the Sambo, here to talk about the Titans with us today. How we doing today, my guy?
Oh, baby, I'm living the triple boa life and just ready to get this off-season a-rolling. Woohoo! Where's my alcohol?
Yes. Right? Where is the bud?
I'm not going to drink it. I'm going to pour it on my wounds of my fandom, okay?
I completely understand that. Me and you are in very similar boats after the seasons we had. I think my boat sunk a lot quicker than your boat did.
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys stayed afloat a little bit better than we did.
Oh, yeah. I was on the band going, gentlemen, it was an honor to play with you tonight. And then,
Yeah, same here. As soon as Javonte Williams' knee exploded, I knew it was over. So I was like, okay, this is going to be a very unfun year to be a Broncos fan. I didn't think it'd be as bad as it turned out to be, but it definitely went bad very quickly. But we're at the precipice of making things better. It's the offseason. It's the time of wondrous dreams and
everyone's hopeful.
Getting your hopes up. Exactly. We're back to being hopeful. So NFL free agency is coming up in just a couple of weeks. So we're going to start off with the Titans here. What's going to be going on in Tennessee? First up, what's the one move the Titans have to make this offseason?
You're going to have to figure out the quarterback position. If Tannehill is not getting any cheaper, if you're going to let him go, now's the time. If you do it, it's a gamble, and you pay the price with it either way. If you're going to keep him, no problems here if you're going to keep him, but you got to work out that deal because that cap hit is way too high for what we're getting out of him. At $36 million or 27, that's way different than 36. $27 million. If you cut him, it's $18 million of dead cap money. I think 16 or 13 million is what you get back. But I can understand arguments for keeping him and for cutting him. Either way, you need to figure out your quarterback situation. Who's backing him up? Because there's injury history there. Though he's been relatively healthy in Tennessee. Last year with the ankle is one of the reasons we were already backsliding, and then we really backslid. So I think you need to figure out what you're going to do at quarterback. I think did you ask what move had to be made? Or
yes, what is one move the Titans have to make?
I'm going to say this just as simple as I can. O-line, you have to do something about it. It is Swiss cheese. It is wet tissue paper. You had the worst ranked left tackle in the league playing. You have to do something about the offensive line. Be it draft, be it free agency. Something's got to happen.
That sounds a lot like Broncos country here. That's what I have. This is what I have been screaming here in Broncos country for them to fix for the last 2, maybe 3 years. Like the only Pro Bowler the Broncos have had on the offensive line in the last 7 years was Garrett Bowles. 1 year.
Right.
That's it. Like there's nothing there. So I completely understand. Like this past year, I've seen something that probably you didn't even see with your porous offensive line. I watched Chandler Jones and Max Crosby both get untouched, half a sack on the quarterback. I've never seen both tackles completely whiff on two of the best pass rushers in the league. And it wasn't like they had picked the wrong guy to block. Like they were just literally out there like, where's my glasses? What's going on? Like, it was the funniest thing ever. So
air. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So
Bugs Bunny just ducks it. Yeah. It's rough. It was rough for that implosion last year. But the overall feeling is, in Vrabel we trust, baby. Here we go. So
I completely understand. I mean, the man has done. I mean, y'all are just a year removed from being the number 1 seed in the league, so it's not like you have a terrible roster. There's obviously some holes. So with that being the move that has to be made, what's the one move you hope happens? The dream move.
Oh boy, the dream move. Can I have a dark horse one and a logical one?
Sure.
Okay. I wanted you to be like, no, and just stare at me seriously. All right.
I like fantasy.
I like that. Yeah, me too. So my fantasy is that you burn down 2023. Okay? You burn it. You burn it all. All the dead money's gone in 24 and 25.
Fire.
Yeah, you kill it, burn it all, throw it in the fires of Mount Doom since we're on the fantasy kick. Burn it all. And then you can re-sign Jeffrey Simmons, and you can keep some pieces there. But so here's the thing: I am a more long-term view fan. Okay. I joined as ticket members when it was 2-14 and Ken Wisenhunt was the coach. Okay. I was there, Gandalf. I was there. How many Lord of the Rings references can we get?
We'll start counting.
Yeah, I'm up to 2, baby. So I would burn it all for a better 24 and 25. Now that's me. That's the dark horse. So get rid of everybody you can, rebuild it. Let's go.
I think that wouldn't be a terrible plan.
So, no, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. And nobody can really give me, well, you can't sell that to a fan base. I know, but you can sell it to me.
Right. And when all those picks starting to come to fruition, if you hit on them, obviously that's a big if. It's a lottery, all those things. They're gonna be okay with it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then look, you can sign any free agent you want in 24. Isn't that great?
Right.
So the logical side of me thinks that you're going to cut a lot of people, but I think you really need to re-sign David Long, the middle linebacker. That's the move I think you need to make. He is one of these guys that goes to work and plays so hard, and I feel like that's a signing that some people would probably look at outside of the team and say, he'll be fine, whatever. But I think he's kind of pivotal. Him and Jeffrey Simmons are both pretty pivotal to that defense, as far as I'm concerned.
Sounds a lot like Josie Jewell here in Denver. That lunch pail, he doesn't have anything that really stands out when you're looking at like his combine numbers, but for some reason, the man's just always in
where the ball is, to make the play.
He's always around the ball. Exactly. His instincts are just second level, and so he gets to make up for maybe that little bit of a slower 40 or 3-cone drill or whatever. So I'm all for the blue collar lunch pail working type of players. Those are always my favorite.
The two-tone blue lunch pillar Conquer.
Right, there you go. That's great. So with those two moves being in the books, what is the most likely outcome for the Titans when the dust settles?
When the dust settles, I still think Ryan Tannehill is your quarterback, and I am perfectly fine with that. I still think Derrick Henry's here. But I think you're looking at a bunch of new people on your offensive line. I think you're looking at it. And by the way, if there isn't a bunch of new people, I'm going to be really upset. So I think you're looking at a bunch of new people on your offensive line. And I think the offense, now that you've got Tim Kelly as OC, who looking over some stuff, has a lot of interesting pass route concepts. So I think the offense is going to be better because, one, you can't sink any lower. And two, I think this guy, when he has a reasonable cast, like he had Deshaun Watson and things like that, can make things happen for you. So I feel like you're going to have a bunch of people going, who's that guy? What's he do? Huh? Who's he? What?
Isn't that kind of the natural state of the Tennessee Titans, though? Like they were to me, honestly, they were one of the weirdest number one seeds just over a season ago. So like, it always seems to be that y'all got a bunch of just dogs that nobody knows who the hell they are, but they just something about Vrabel and his underdog mentality. It just seems to permeate that roster. And no matter how small of a name, they always seems to be some guys that come together, they coalesce, and y'all end up with a winning season or the number one seed for no reason whatsoever.
For no reason. 90 people on the injury reserve, like it just doesn't matter.
Right.
Braves figures it out.
Yeah, he's just one of those coaches, kind of like Mike Tomlin, even like a Bill Belichick. Like I do believe I would put him in that echelon of coaches. Sean Payton, all those guys.
I think a lot of people are starting to catch on that Vrabel is not an idiot. He looks like a big meathead, but he isn't.
Yeah.
And he goes to these press conferences and he actually gives you information, which is
he's a great listen. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. He will. Boy, if you ask a stupid question though, God help you.
Oh yes. Those are the
God
best,
help
though.
you.
Those are the best.
I was off to the side, from Friday. Damn, bro.
Right. No, I get, especially like me being a journalist and like this is what I do every day. Like watching these dudes get toasted. Like that's one of the reasons why I love Sean Payton so much and why I want Rex Ryan to come here as the DC. Like them two guys roasting journalists here in Denver every day. I'm for it. I am 100% here for it.
Question from the outside perspective. Message from the big giant head. For a Third Rock from the Sun reference for all you old people out there like me. The whole personal coaches for Russell Wilson comment, was there anything to that?
No, I mean that was just people being bored in the offseason. Like
What?
he did have a extra coach, but it was no different than Tom Brady and Eddie Guerrero.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
the same type of thing. And so for people to sit here and blow it up, like I don't understand. Like I still don't understand why Russell Wilson was attacked personally all season when he did nothing to be attacked personally. Like you want to talk about his football, that's fine. I completely understand that. He gave you plenty of ammo to do that. But to be attacking the man about his bathrooms and his wife and he's too much of a celebrity, all these things I don't understand. But yet Tom Brady, who literally left his family for football, was put up as a god. Like it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
That's fanaticism, like we were talking about before the show. Like the cognitive dissonance for fans when it comes to rooting for their guy or against the other guy is absolutely amazing.
Oh, it's disgusting. You see some of the things on Twitter when you look through it, and you're like, "Why?"
The cesspool. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I stared into the abyss, and it stared back at me.
Yes.
Kind of like you're like, why are you talking about Ryan Tannehill like that? Oh my god.
Oh my! Like the disrespect that man gets. Like
it's ridiculous.
It's insane to me. Like I'm not going to sit here and say he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's not.
No, but he's above average.
Good.
He's above average. Yeah.
I'd say at least in the top 12, at the very least.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And he quietly does it. He's a lunch pail guy, like you said, and he just goes to work. You know, it's not always pretty, but he's one of the reasons you won as many games as you did. And you're silly if you don't think otherwise. Like you're foolish.
Yeah, he's an upgraded Jimmy Garoppolo in my
opinion. Yes, a little bit. Everybody, we should trade for Jimmy G. I'm like, it's the same thing.
Right? Like you're actually downgrading a little bit because Tannehill's a much better athlete than Jimmy is.
Oh yeah, and
Jimmy's a statue.
I give Ryan Tannehill a 3% better chance of making the better decision than Jimmy G. Jimmy G seems to be like, I'll just throw it out there. It'll be fine. I'll just farm this. It'll be all right.
It'll look pretty because I'm pretty, so it's all good.
I'm Jimmy G. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be wonderful.
It's gonna be epic. I'm still rich and I'm still beautiful. It doesn't matter. So, but let's go ahead and let's move on from free agency. Let's get into the NFL draft that's coming up quickly.
Yes.
In my birth month, I always loved the fact that they honor us Tauruses by bringing the draft into May.
April 14th, baby. That's me.
How did they move it?
No, that's my birthday.
That's your birthday. That's right. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Sometimes it's Good Friday and I get the day off,
Mine's the same backwards and forwards. I'm 5'8", 85.
Okay. I got 1 year on you. Listen to me, Sonny Jim. I got 1 year on you.
Hey, you're closer to 40 than me. But talking about the NFL draft, y'all have a top 11 pick. So who do you want in round one?
I'm just going to, like I said, I'm going to put this as plainly as I can. It's an offensive lineman or I'm going to murder somebody. Okay? I swear to God, if I see a quarterback come around that – by the way, I don't like any of these quarterbacks. I don't. I know there are some people that do. I want the 24 draft class. That's my quarterback class. That's where I put that.
That is a good one coming up. I agree. Yeah,
that's what I want.
CJ are way, way overrated.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And for some reason, everybody agreed with me during the season, not the offseason. But it's different. Different's good, right? No.
Right.
No, it's not. So,
I mean,
offensive lineman, okay? I don't care how you do it. Just get me one. I don't care if it's a right guard. I don't care if it's a center. I don't care if it's a left guard. Now, if you're talking about my dream, I want Lawson out of the Ohio State, that 85-inch reach as a left tackle.
That's a beast.
That's a monster. The guy takes three steps and his arms are still in front of the defensive lineman. It's like watching Mr. Fantastic from Fantastic Four block somebody. That's what I want. But, what do I know? That we'll probably get some stud wide receiver that everybody's like, everything's changed. I'm like, who's going to protect the quarterback long enough to throw the ball? Who? That
is kind of the scenario that got y'all AJ Brown.
Since we're on the fantasy kick, somebody sent me like, oh, look at AJ Brown score a touchdown in the Super Bowl. And I sent a gif of Darth Vader going, that name no longer has meaning to me. Do you understand? I'm so done. I am so done. I know he's one of the questions coming up, and I will gladly answer it. But I get it. to me, I'm more of the, well, he's gone, guys, so I don't know what you want me to do about it. I can't change it. Can't change it. It hurts. It hurts me every day.
Yeah. So you pretty much, I think, answered this already, but I'll go ahead and just barrel down.
Sure.
What is the biggest need on the roster? I think we're going to go with offensive line.
I am, but it also depends. To be clear, it depends on what kind of strategy you believe in. There are plenty of people that can make great arguments that should be wide receiver. There are plenty of people that can make great arguments. No, I don't think they're that great about a quarterback. I don't think they're that great of arguments. You cannot do anything in this league. Look at the top teams last year on offense. Their offensive lines were blocking for them greatly. All right. The Eagles' offensive line. Even Detroit had a good offensive line. They just couldn't win the game.
The defense just wouldn't allow them to. They were scoring 45 points, but then the defense was giving up 50.
Right. And Jared Goff's jersey was clean. That's
always, yes.
So I'm sitting there and I'm a guy, if you're a Titans fan, you grew up watching Eddie George run behind those massive men and get yards. You're watching Derrick Henry the last 4 years get behind these massive men and get yards, okay? He didn't get as many as he could. I'm surprised he got over 1,500 yards with the crap guys we had out there, okay? So, excuse me. So to me, you have to fix this offensive line or nothing's going to happen. And we don't get to see how Chigakonkwo as tight end is going to work. We're not going to see how Traylon Burks, who finally started coming along, is going to work because we're not going to have time to throw the ball. Okay. Not with Dennis Daly being the lowest rated left tackle in the league and giving up sacks almost every single game. Almost.
I got you. I mean, we've seen it in the Super Bowl. That was what made the difference. The fact that the Eagles' offensive line wasn't able to hold up in the second half, but the Chiefs completely flipped the script. I mean, or just in your division, you saw the Indianapolis Colts fall off a cliff, not for any other reason than their offensive line went from one of the best in the league to one of the worst in the league in just a matter of months. So people overlook the big uglies in the middle. I'm a proponent of them because I was one of those big uglies. I'm 6'4", pushing 300 pounds. So I'm a big.
You look great.
So I appreciate it. Thank you. But so I like to push for these guys, and I love the fact that so many more people are starting to take notice of how important the offensive line is for football to work. The trenches matter. The perfect way to build a team is always
backbone of your offense.
Yes, thank you. Work inside out. That is how you build a team. So with that all being said, you only have 6 picks. Do you think that they should or will acquire more?
If you do it, it better be lineman. No, I'm not that crazy. If you can trade back, you can trade back for more picks. Rand Carthon, if everything I've read to be believed, and I've read SI, and I've read everything I can, MMQB, everything like that. They say a lot of 49ers success comes from their depth, and a lot of that has to do with Rand Carthon picking guys later in the rounds or whatnot. So if I read that and that is correct, then I want Rand Carthon to have as many picks as he can get his hands on. So if you trade back, get your value for him, but you're still getting an O-lineman somewhere. I don't care who it is. That's where I'm at. If you trade back.
I love the fact you want to stick to them guns, and I'm completely with you.
Yeah, I refuse to let them go. I'm not leaving without these guns. You hear me? O-line.
So you gave one good example, trading back on how to acquire picks. Now, another way to acquire picks is to trade players. And y'all did something a year ago that just completely blew everybody's mind. A.J. Brown getting traded away, ends up in the Super Bowl with the Eagles. He's now spilling the tea a year later. He ended up throwing your guy, Vrabel, under the bus. Was Brown right for reading his private text messages out loud, stating that Vrabel told him that he would never be traded as long as he was the head coach?
So here is the shtick. Okay, stuff is coming out. It started coming out when John Robinson was fired. Now, I'm going to start at the very beginning. This will probably be a lengthy answer. Grab your drink if you've got to. Calm down. So the whole So the whole saga. All right. Let's go back to a time of 2013. When John Robinson came here, this was his dream job. Okay, he's from Union City, Tennessee. There's a whole lot of nothing out there, but he's been a fan of this team. Right? Hey, really?
Yeah. No, that's not my home. I'm saying it's like my
Oh.
hometown. My hometown
Oh.
is Sterling, Colorado.
Right.
Little town, middle of nowhere, nothing going on.
Nothing going on. Right. So there's like a rubber factory and farms. Like that's what they got. So
That's great.
right. So he comes into Tennessee. We've had horrible years and whatnot. He's got to deal with Mike Munchak. Mike Mularkey as his head coach, because for some reason that's what ownership has saddled with him with. And he comes out and he goes, "Can I say something?" At the end of the press conference, and he gives this speech, passion speech, where he says, "Hey, listen, you don't tell me what's wrong with this team. I've been a fan of this team since 1997. I've been in this league for years. I know what we need to do." And it really fired us up because we haven't had somebody come in and just literally light a fire under people's butts. He trades for DeMarco Murray. He switches picks with the Eagles and gets DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray comes in and has 2 good years. And then Derrick Henry comes along, and he's drafting well, not necessarily in the first round, but he's getting good value out of his guys. He's getting guys like Kevin Byard, one of the top safeties in the league. He's getting guys like, he gets Jeffrey Simmons, and that's when we all raised an eyebrow because he had a torn ACL. But look, he looks like a genius now when he gets him. So we start getting the last 3 years. Swing and miss, swing and miss, swing and miss, over and over and over again. Only 2 players retained. I'm sure you know this. 2 players only retained after all 3 of those draft classes is not good. That is horrible. You are paying Julio Jones to wear a Bucs jersey. You are paying Jadeveon Clowney to wear a Browns jersey. Those deals cannot happen. The AJ deal comes up, and I'll get to what AJ said here in just a second. But what we know now from these beat reporters, and ladies and gentlemen, listen to your beat reporters that follow your team that are in there, not the national guys. The national guys are great. I'm not saying they're terrible at their jobs or anything like that, but the beat reporters are going to have a much better vibe about what's going on. That's just how it is, right? So John Robinson was running it like he was the emperor of Rome. Okay, he got cocky. And then I think he got scared. We see guys do this in the front office all the time. They mess up something. They start to put their backs against the corner, and then they start locking everybody out. Communication breaks down, whatever. He does a terrible job with the A.J. Brown. He barely even talks to A.J. Brown if you read that article in the Tennessean, which is even more embarrassing. And so when he gets fired after the Eagles game, and I don't care listen, I love our owner, A.M. Strunk. She goes, "Oh, no, that played a part in it. It had nothing to do with it." Liar. You lie.
You have been caught red-handed.
Yeah, you lie. Anyway, so I love her to death. She's great. I've met her. But she said it was a lot of things. And then you start wondering, like, I can't believe she fired John Robinson. And then you start looking at the last 3 drafts and these free agency contracts that have just screwed over your cap and the team and everything like that. And you go, okay, well, it makes sense. You would probably fire your GM for that. So A.J. Brown comes out. First of all, I'm not sharing those text messages. Those were private. Secondly, I don't think it's fair to blame it totally on Vrabel when ultimately driving the car was John Robinson. John Robinson was driving that car, okay? You start getting stories about scouts turning in people and then him just totally ignoring it. There was a podcast called The Ringer where they talked to John Robinson and they said, "Hey, do you have an analytic department?" And he goes, "Yeah, you want to meet them? Hi, I'm John Robinson, the head of the analytic department." That's how he did it. That's how he introduced his analytics. So he got cocky and he paid the price for it, is what it comes down to. Now, we also have to be respectful here and like really look at the evidence, because everybody's going to read this and totally believe the player and everything. And I'm sure after reading those text messages, it seems like he's being fair. But this is AJ's side of the story. We should be cognizant of that fact, okay? AJ's not going to come out and make himself look bad. And I guarantee Vrabel's going to get the question at the next press conference, and he will brush it off and say, he's not on the team anymore. So what do you want me to do? I can't do anything about it. So, But what we hear, Ran Carthon comes here, and what's the first thing out of his lips? Collaboration, talking, we have to communicate, whatever. And that tells you everything you need to know. John Robinson did none of those things. Rand Carthon is going to do those things, or at least try to. Big draft for the guy. I'm super excited. By the way, this is the only, every time we've hired a GM, this is the only one I've ever been right about. I said, I really want Rand Carthon to be my GM, but it's not going to be. It's going to be somebody. It's going to be Johnny Come Lately from the Patriots or something like that, and just move
That always seems to be the move, right?
Right, yeah, yeah. You know who we're getting. Anyway, so where I stand on that, I feel sorry for AJ. I'm really upset with John Robinson after it didn't work out. I think everybody's really upset with John Robinson, but I think it should also be known, if you're a Titans fan and watching this, that guy did great things for us. He just couldn't hold it together. And that's ultimately what gets you fired in this league.
It always becomes stale at some point.
At some point.
You've seen what happened with Sean Payton in New Orleans, John Gruden, at every stop he was ever at. It's starting to get stale with Belichick in New England. I really think his years are numbered. And not because he's a terrible coach. It's just after a while, when you keep saying the same thing over and over and over again, humans tend to just tune out. It's just what happens. And unfortunately, our brains are just built that way. And to another one of your points is, yes, this is only one side of the story. This is AJ's side. And the side is probably the rawest. He's probably got the most emotions put up into it.
Yeah.
So do you think he has a real reason to be bitter, or is this just a guy getting up in his feelings?
I think, can I say a little bit of both? I think he had a promise from the coach. I think he seemed to think that Vrabel had more power than he did. But I think Adam Schefter reported on it. Vrabel has now more power than he ever had. So I think if he would just read between the lines and get out of his emotions a little bit, realize that Vrabel didn't get to make the call there. We saw how upset Vrabel was when they made that move. He got up, walked into the corner of the room, and then came back. It was very clear that he was not about that.
Yeah, he had to get off camera.
Yeah, he had to get off camera. It was bad.
Yeah, it was really bad.
And John Robinson's over there like, I'm just wheeling and dealing.
Right.
So, and then, you find out soon after that the owner, Amy Adams Strunk, was like, I gotta do something about this. This guy's got, So you paid the price, right? You gave J. Rob all the power and it backfired. Now you've got a joint effort with Rand Carthon, and hopefully it all works out. And I wish not. I just want to be clear. I wish nothing but the best for AJ. He's a great player. He deserves all the accolades and everything like that. But buddy, you got to get off Twitter. You got to get off Twitter. Okay, like first of all, I want to say, and I'm not going to put this on Twitter on him, but you were injured a lot here, bro. Okay, you didn't play a full season a lot, so. While you were great while you were on the field, let's not act like you were there for every 17-game or 16-game season, because you certainly weren't. So, and trust me, there were games that we really needed you, but I don't.
That's always. I get the injury thing, especially here in Denver. We've been one of the more injured teams in the league for the last decade.
Yes, you have. How many knees are you guys going to blow out? I mean, my
goodness. Hamstrings, knees, elbows, shoulders. We got it all. Name it, and it's happened here in Denver.
We're hamstring.
I'm so glad that we finally got a new strength and conditioning coach this year.
Right,
Sean Payton bringing in his guy.
We are changing the field at our stadium. We've been natural grass for years, but apparently it's been leading to a lot of injuries. So we're changing the field.
Yeah, it's been such a weird debate. It's like you've got the players screaming that we need natural fields, and then you got teams like yours that are changing from natural grass to turf because their data says that it's the other way around. So I really want to see somebody sit down, sift through the data, and figure that out. But which one is it? Because the thought process would be the harder the concrete. That's going to be terrible. But sometimes when you look at the data after you've got done sifting through the numbers, something comes out that's counterintuitive. So I'd really like to see somebody sit down, really figure that out. And so that way we can get that over with and move on for player safety. But as a Titans fan, how do you feel about the trade after drinking this tea? Does anything change?
Nope. I miss him. We should have kept him. Not my call to make.
Got it. Nice, short, succinct. I like it. So let's move on to the next move that may be happening. And baby has your ire. I don't know how much you love King Henry, but could he be on his way out? Daniel Jeremiah floated a trade possibility with the Bills for Henry on ESPN's Get Up just yesterday. Is that a yay or a nay for you?
Oh boy, here we go. Okay. So this was my dark horse as soon as the year ended, and I'm not even joking. I was on the
Oh,
Texans podcast, and I said, listen, things are happening. You're over the cap. Moves got to be made. You got to get draft picks.
mm-hmm.
This Daniel Jeremiah, that is actually an excellent point. They have never been able to run the ball well. And
Right.
I love seeing Bills fans talking about, oh, we can run the ball. No, you can't. You can't.
No,
You haven't. Okay.
not unless
Josh
it's
Allen
Josh Allen.
sliding. Josh Allen
Yes.
running for 3 yards and sliding does not count.
No,
Like,
it doesn't. It
it
doesn't.
doesn't. And by the way, it didn't help you at all in the playoffs. Anyway, so
Yeah.
so they don't have a run game, and you have King Henry, who has ran behind this terrible O-line and somehow gotten 15,000 or 1,500 something yards. So the trade makes sense if you give me stuff for it. If you're wondering what I want your second and your third. That's what I want. I want your second and third, and you're eating his contract. That's what I want.
Wow. So you're going to make him eat the contract, and you'll accept a second and a
Yep.
third.
I totally will. In a heartbeat.
I say that's fair. Like, honestly, it kind of I was waiting for you to be like, I need first rounders. Like, no, that's a completely legitimate.
This is running back. This is a throwing league.
Right. And that's almost 30. Like, the man's about to be 29. It's the last year of his contract. So it's either you're going to extend him, which I have said this over and over again. I'm sure every running back will never, ever come on my podcast because I've said it a million times. Don't pay running backs. Mama, don't let your kids grow up to be running backs. They will not get paid.
They're not getting paid.
No, you shouldn't. Like, outside in the last 20 years, besides Adrian Peterson and Derrick Henry, name me a player, running back that made their second contract worth it.
No, I don't see one.
Exactly. So, like, you can get them in the 6th, 7th round, and they'll come like Isaiah Pacheco, 5th rounder.
Yeah, yeah. You can get them in the 6th, and they can just run the ball just fine.
Exactly. So, yeah, no.
I make the trade. If the price is right, I make the trade.
Awesome. That shocked me a little bit. I honestly thought you might be a little bit of more of a pushback, but I like you being. Oh Jesus, what's the word I just lost?
Mm-hmm.
My brain just went blank. Realistic, I guess is the best word. It's not the word I was looking for, but that'll work.
Right. I'm an NFL fan. First, you have to look at the trends that are going on here. You have to.
Yeah. It's a perfect storm. Exactly like you said.
They need a running game. I need cap space. I need picks. Take them.
Exactly. And they're willing to trade away the picks because they're in the contention window. At the end of yours, they're at the beginning of theirs. So honestly, I like it. I think it makes a whole lot of sense. And
second,
to have
third,
a backfield, have a backfield of Allen, Henry, and Hines. Like, having those three guys in the backfield at the same time is absolutely insane. So
yes.
I think it would be a trade that would work for both teams. So
I think so.
So you are open to the trade.
I am.
You give us what you were expecting to return.
By the way, I got nasty people that came at me so hard. I was on the Texans podcast on Let's Talk Sports, and I said they're like dark horse move that's going to make. I'm like, you're going to trade Derrick Henry, and they called me an idiot. And I was like, yeah, like so.
Carlos I
was this Lone Titans fan, like love y'all, and I just got a wall of middle fingers just right at me, and I was like, just an opinion, guys.
Right, it's just a thought. So besides that being a dark horse move, what's another move that might shock some people that could happen there in Tennessee?
This one I don't like. Okay. Like, look, I love Derrick Henry. The guy's done amazing stuff. I appreciate everything he's done. I'm just realistic about it. But Kevin Byard's counting for $21 million against the cap. If somebody comes a knocking that needs safety, I know that one hurts. I know, because he's a top 10 safety. You don't do it. But what if the price is over the top? Like, do you I think you got to think about it.
No, I get that. I've had the same thoughts. Like, this is something that I'll share an unpopular opinion here in Broncos country. Is I have a similar one for a similar type of player, and that's Justin Simmons. Justin Simmons is an even bigger cap hit than what Kevin Byard is for y'all. And he's on the other side of 30. I love him. He's the only defensive back that's had 3+ interceptions in the last 5 consecutive years.
Yes.
Like, there's so much that you love him. I love him off the field. I love him on the field. He's one of my favorite players. But if you're looking at a cap hit of that magnitude at that position, like, safety's kind of like the running back of the defense. They're very interchangeable. Like, when you get a great one, you typically want to hold on to them until they get to a certain point in age. once they start falling off, like I'm not saying Justin Simmons is falling off, but I think he's at the peak of his value. So
Right.
I think that this would be, if you're going to move him, this is the time to move him because you're going to get the most back. So I'm 100% with you on, there's some moves out there that people probably aren't going to like, but they do make sense when you take your fees out of it and you just look at it from a business perspective.
Yeah, I agree. And look, he's one of the best safeties in the league. He is steady and he's always playing hard. And I do not want to get rid of him. But if the price is right and I can get out of cap hell, then I'll do it. I'll do it. I suck. I hate it. I hate doing it. But that's why I'm not a GM. I'm not a GM. I can't do that move.
Yeah. Same here. Like I've had the fantasy. I've followed the path that I could go to a front office if I want to. By the time I'm done with my MBA and my doctorates that I'm working on right now, but that thought process right there does give me pause. Is you do have to be that guy that brings a young man in that's sitting there full of hopes and dreams, and you got to be the dickhole that crushes all of it. And you got to do it
every
constantly over and over. You got to do it at least 30 to 40 times every offseason. Then you're doing it multiple times during the season. You're trading away guys that you've built relationships with, that you drafted, that you know who their mom is, their son's name, their daughter's name, who their wife is. You're at a first name basis with their grandma, things like that. And then you got to be the guy to bring them in the office and be like, hey, I'm shipping you to, the tundra or something.
Yeah. Remember, Jarrell Casey was well loved here before they sent him to the Broncos. Like, he was Mr. Tennessee.
Yes.
And
I loved him while he was here.
Oh, he was great. They pulled the trigger, and it just took the wind out of everybody. I mean, they could not believe. But the fact remained, people, they drafted Jeffrey Simmons, and he was better
with
than
the draft pick they got and replaced. Exactly.
And he was better than him. It's not saying
I
that.
agree. Jeffrey Simmons is a dog.
If you take two offensive linemen every time you rush, you're staying. Like, that's just how it is. That's just how it is.
Yeah, most definitely.
But that's you and me in the trenches because we love trenches.
Yes,
so.
we love the part of the game nobody else watches.
Yeah, I love the ugly. I love the anger. I love the constant collision. I love it. I live for it.
Like, I'll trip people out when I'm watching like football with them. It's like there'll be like a 60-yard play, and my first thing out of my mouth is, "Did you see that block by the left tackle on the defensive?" They're like, "Dude, the guy just shook for it." Like, but before that, like, you understand, those four people wouldn't have been shook if this dude right here didn't make this block. Like, I'm that kind of guy. So I am absolutely all in for the trenches, building from the inside.
Me too.
Out. That's where I think we did a great job in this show of building from the inside out.
Yeah.
And got to a great
new name for your podcast, Inside Out. Yeah.
Inside Out. There you go.
Is this about surgery?
That's not a bad name, right? That's not a bad name, though.
No, the Inside Out.
I think we got all the answers that we wanted to today. I appreciate you coming on, giving us those answers. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Anytime.
Thank you, my man. Keep in contact. I'm sure we'll have you back again. Go ahead and tighten up. Get over there in Tennessee. Man, make sure all of y'all, his username for Twitter is down in the description. Make sure you give Mr. First Down some love, give him some follows, some likes, all that.
Yell at me for the Derrick Henry take,
right?
Fine.
Whatever you want to do, we're all here for it. But
offensive linemen are stupid.
They're stupid, man. But also down in the description is all of our links here at The Answer is 42, as well as Let's Talk Sports. So make sure you show all of us some love. Hit the subscribe button. Just hit all those red buttons. Launch all the nukes. Clear the way so we can bring you the news the way that you deserve, most definitely. So for Let's Talk Sports Network, for the Let's Get Some Answers podcast here with me, Dan Wettstein, my guest over there, Sam, Mr. First Down. We appreciate y'all for coming on. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.